that stuck with me from primary school all the way to university. So that's a lot of years.
Wow.
And I don't think, people understand how your name can have such an impact because that is really connected to your identity.
Hello, everyone. Elle Ballard is here with you today with my beautiful special guest, Fatima, all the way from Australia. Hi, Fatima.
Hi, Elle. Thank you for having me.
Hi, thank you for being here. So great to see you. And I am excited for this conversation. Before we jump on, I would like to introduce Fatima first. So, Fatima is the founder of Ascending Self Cultural Identity Coaching. As a cultural identity coach and people and culture consultant, armed with a social science degree, she specializes in human behavior and psychology. She carries with her almost 2 decades of professional experience intertwined with 37 years of personal growth. Growing up as a young Lebanese girl in Australia, culturally and linguistically diverse, she experienced the profound challenges of cultural identity suppression, perpetuated by discrimination and assimilation. Her journey of rediscovering her authentic identity has instilled deep appreciation for acknowledging and honoring her cultural roots. It is her mission now to assist people culturally and linguistically diverse like her who have encountered challenges in embracing their cultural identity without feeling shame, fear, or judgment, and also facilitate a pathway for organizations to provide safe and encouraging workplaces of camaraderie, bridging cultural gaps. I love that. I
Yeah.
love what you do.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Yeah, I remember when we first met, I felt that it's so much synchronicity. We're so in sync with what you do. I love that because I can totally relate. And I'm so happy to have you in this podcast today. And of course, your story led you to do this work. But why did you still choose to pursue this field? Can you share a story with us how you've started your life in Australia?
Yeah, so I originally came to Australia at the age of 3,
Oh,
and I pretty much grew up here. I went to primary school, high school, university. I built my career in Australia, and it was an interesting journey. My
mhm,
family and I went back and forth actually to try and get residency and citizenship. It was a hard time back then, and that alone really impacted me because I never really felt a sense of security. We were always packing up and moving. It was quite a traumatic experience now that I look back at it. But during that move and coming to Australia, I always struggled to actually really understand who I was, especially coming to a Western country, coming from an Eastern world into a Western world. It
mhm.
becomes very difficult. And I remember when I first met you, I shared the experience of the name as well, my name, using my name, and how that was an impact for me and how it kind of stayed with me in my years. So when we originally came to Australia at school, my parents enrolled me as Fatima, and unfortunately, it wasn't socially accepted. I did get a lot of bullying and teasing at a young age, so they unfortunately had to unenroll me and choose a Anglo-Saxon name, and they chose Fiona, so I would be more accepted within, society. So that stuck with me from primary school all the way to university. So that's a lot of years.
Wow.
And I don't think, people understand how your name can have such an impact because that is really connected to your identity.
Mhm.
So that for me, I really struggled with that. And along the way, obviously, I tend to kind of I created my homes in other people as well. So I never actually created my home within myself because I was always trying to please and be accepted. It led me to see different experiences through my background in community and disability services. I saw quite a few issues around diversity and inclusion, and there was nothing really in place as a support system to help people that are culturally and linguistically diverse. So I thought to myself, well, why isn't there something that can help people like myself that went through that journey that didn't feel accepted, that felt segregated? And while I was in the community disability space, I started building Ascending Self to actually help people that have gone through what I've gone through and also help organizations support their staff too. So that's what led me to creating Ascending Self, so I can help people feel more authentic, to embrace their true selves without fear or judgment. I'm very, very, very passionate about it. And, you know, my experience coming to Australia led me that based on my own personal experiences. So it's been a massive journey, so many ups and downs. But yeah, that's how I got to where I got to.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. I remember our conversation. I remember when you shared it when we just met. So profound, and it's so interesting, and it's just all this experiences how, and I can totally understand, I can so relate to what you're doing, and thank you for doing this work, because I think it's just so needed. Time is this is time to do this, right? And I think it is so needed out there. It's just not spoken enough, it's not discussed enough.
Unfortunately, when it is spoken about in Australia specifically, they tend to say, well, there's no issue here. Everything's good. We're very open. We're very multicultural.
Yeah.
Yes, in some sense, there is still very much, we call it casual racism here, without people even realizing, like, for example, you know, I often get asked, oh, where are you from? What nationality are you? And I say to them, oh, I'm Lebanese. And usually 9 times out of 10, they say to me, oh, you don't look Lebanese. So what does that actually mean? Is that considered as casual racism? So what does a Lebanese person look like? So there's that stereotype Lebanese, and then, well, is she Muslim or is she Christian? If she's
Yeah.
Muslim, why isn't she wearing the hijab? Yeah,
Yeah.
which I then get asked. So, you know, it's those. So it's really about, for me, it's, I want to educate and make people more aware that it's more about just, you know, the way we look. It's about what connects to us and our true purpose and living to our true authentic self. Doesn't
Mm.
matter who we are, where we're from. And
Mhm.
if we do live in a Western country, we can still bring our Eastern values and live a life of balance. It doesn't have to be like, I'm really scared to say that I'm Lebanese and that I'm Muslim because I'm worried about what the person next to me is going to say or do.
This is such an interesting conversation because I definitely, like, I'm listening to you and I'm nodding because I can relate to
Yeah.
with name as well, right? Like we,
Yes.
in my culture, we tend to have very long names. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
mispronunciation or repetition, it's just all of those factors. And so it's just so, there's so many sides to this, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So many lanes you can take to discuss this one issue, right?
Yeah.
Because it's interesting. I remember when I moved to the US, like initially we go through this because we want to see things the way they are, but they are not, they are different.
Yeah.
And so you start questioning at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how personalities and then cultures shift. And then once we start living in different culture, in the beginning we question, and then we kind of, it's just there are phases too. So for you, like coming from a different culture, living with your family, how has that, would you say, favored or limited you in any way?
Well, I believe the way it's favored me is that I've been able to give back to people based on my own personal experience. I've been able to help others. I've been able to help organizations create a more inclusive, diverse
Mhm.
environment. I've been able to help people, you know, who have struggled like myself. Because I've had that personal experience, I've been able to give them the strategies and tips and tools I use to get through this. So I'm very grateful for my experience because I've been able to give back, and I love to be able to give back. Like, that's my mission. That's my vision. I want to be able to create a society where we all kind of can come together and appreciate and love each other and empower each other. But I think also the way it's hindered me is, you know, for a long time, I, you know, didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe in my purpose. And I boxed myself into creating homes, like I said before, in other people. I never created my own home. It's been a personal reflection of, you know, where my strengths and weaknesses are,
Yeah.
you know, based on my cultural identity. But, you know, in saying that, it's been a very positive experience because I've been able to use my personal experience to help also.
I love the term, I was telling you earlier, I love the term culturally and linguistically diverse. It's a short, how many words, but there's so
Yeah.
much in it.
Yeah, yeah. really has meaning, emphasis.
Yeah, it has meaning, and I love, that there is a, that the term exists. So that's great. I love it. 1 year, and it was having 1 year anniversary for your
Great,
business.
yeah.
Yay, congratulations with that. And yeah, if you could share, building your business based on your personal experiences, and I think that's so great. That's where, first of all, your authenticity, your personal unique experience comes into
Yes.
play, right? And that's why we all do what we do, because you can truly share and understand. But what are some of the, maybe one of the biggest lessons? And, I know there's so many lessons usually, but what is one of the biggest lessons that you could share with those maybe who are thinking to start their business or started and in the beginning phases as well?
There's a few different ones, but
Yeah.
the two, yeah, especially with when it comes to business, definitely establish what your purpose is.
Mhm.
What is it you actually want to do,
Yeah.
and how you want to do it. And if I'm going to give from my personal experience, it would be linking it back to your core values. So it needs to align with your core values in order for you to be able to figure out what your purpose is. I wouldn't suggest going into a business without understanding what you really want to achieve, what you really want to give back. And again, that mission, that vision, like what is it? Where do you see yourself? And once you figure that out, start implementing it on a small basis, and you start building slowly from there. I find, when you don't understand where you're going, what your purpose is, and you're putting your hands in too many different areas, you kind of just lose focus and you lose where you're going. And the other thing is expect nothing and you'll never be disappointed. So that's been a valuable lesson of mine. And for me, because the way I was raised, my family always had a very specific expectation of me. So then I believe that was one of my core values, and I kept on setting that expectation for everything I did in my life. So I expected this from this person, that from this person. And then whenever I didn't get it, I would be very disappointed on a constant basis. So I think if we can learn just to kind of go with it, be present in the moment, and don't be thinking in the past, don't be thinking in the present, just do you in this present moment, it actually helps a lot. And you're definitely not as stressed, because once we're always expecting this and expecting that, it just becomes very chaotic. It becomes very stressful. And then I believe, for me personally, you lose focus, and then you lose your desire, and you lose where you're going with your business as well. So those are my two big lessons that I've learned. And, I would really encourage people just to be aware of that when it comes to business.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, the expectation is such a big thing. It's funny how we do that. Why do we do that? It reminds me of a book, Four Agreements. I think he talks about these, like, don't assume. And I think there is a line where he also talks about don't expect. And it
Yeah.
could apply anywhere, right? Like relationships, huge.
Everything, whether it's work, relationships, career, whatever it may be. And it doesn't have to be culturally linked either, because
Yeah.
expectation is, people just expect certain things and they set really high goals from themselves. And then if you don't achieve it, then you're so disappointed. So like, just try not to do that, and set realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Because at least if you achieve it, you feel like, oh, that's great, I've achieved that. So let's go to the next task. But
Yeah.
sometimes these things can be ingrained in us at a young age, and then we take it with us to adulthood, and then it actually becomes quite an intense cycle of, well, no, I haven't achieved this, I need to push myself further. And then you end up really driving yourself into the ground, and like I said, you lose all focus.
Thank you for sharing that. Love that. Great reminder. Also, thank you for being a member of Women of the World Network, one of the amazing women that we have in our community. What does it mean for you to be a woman of the world?
This to me is very, very important, because connection is very inspiring. It's very empowering. And for me to be part of this amazing group and society that you've created, it resonates with me, because if we can come together as a whole, we have a bigger purpose, we have a bigger drive, we can come together and lift each other up. you know, yes, we're all doing different things, but it doesn't mean that we can't go towards a very similar vision. So for me, having that connection with all these different unique women is very important because it's inspiring to me. It uplifts me, it motivates me, and, you know, it creates a sense of unity, which is really important for me. And, you know, I believe many hands make light work, not just one person. So to be in this community is really, really important. And, you know, you've created such an amazing experience. So that's why I'm part of it. And that's what I love about it.
Thank you so much, Fatima. Thank you for joining, for being part of it, and, you know, just bringing yourself, your mission, your vision, your story, your experience, your personal authenticity to the table as well. You know, it wouldn't be the same without you. I wanted to share with our listeners how they can find you, how they can connect with you. We will post links to your website and your LinkedIn profile as well. But if you could let them know, for those listeners who are listening to us today.
Yeah. Would you like me just to say a little bit about what I do as well?
Yeah,
Or just remind me?
in
Yeah.
your website and how you help, and your website, how
Yeah.
they can find you.
Yeah, so I work in quite a few different areas. So I can do individual coaching where I can support people that have gone through a similar experience like I have. Really the focus being to embrace and empower them to be their authentic self without fear or judgment. And, you know, that's done through a very extensive self-assessment. We go through different steps to do that, to really uncover what's going on and how we can overcome those challenges. And then in an organizational space, I go in and support organizations to retain their staff, create a better, more inclusive environment, also support them to maintain their clients and bring new clients on by really focusing on that cultural diversity aspect of it and creating a sense of, you know, inclusion and no segregation, basically. So it's a series of different things that I do. And the way that an organization or individual can contact me is through, I have in my Instagram page, Facebook page, and I've also got a website, www.ascendingself.com. And my Instagram handle, again, it's @ascendingself. Same thing with Facebook, Ascending Self. But yeah, probably be easier once you share it up on the screen. But yeah, I've got all types of social media, and I'm also on LinkedIn as well, Fatima Abdallah. So they can find me on LinkedIn too, and they can just send me a message, tell me what they need, what they require, and then we go through the steps.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love what you do. Oh, yes, I love. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, again, please connect with Fatima. She's amazing. We will post links for her to connect with her, and you can have that discussion further as well. Okay, so I'm going to move us on to the rapid fire questions. Are you
Okay.
ready? Okay, the first one is, your favorite book name is?
The Power of Now.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Favorite international destination to visit?
Turkey.
Yay! I love it too.
Yeah.
Summer or winter?
Summer, definitely.
Okay, and last question is, things that you have discovered about yourself recently.
Oh, I put far too much pressure on myself,
Mm,
and I need to appreciate and embrace the things I have achieved so far.
yes.
Mm.
Yes. Oh, I can so relate.
Oh my gosh, that question obviously I wasn't expecting, so you know, I needed to hear myself say that. Yeah, that's good.
Thank
I
you
love
for
that.
sharing. Yes, it's such a profound question. Sometimes I feel like we need to, yeah, like you said, be open with ourselves, even though we are doing it live, public. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate you creating this space for that, Elle. It's really, really important. Thank you so much.
yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. This was great, and I feel like we could talk on this
Mm.
topic for hours.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, and yeah, it's such an important work that you do. Sending you lots of love and hugs, and
Thank
I'm
you.
hoping to see me to give you a hug one day.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hopefully I'll get to meet you in person, and thank you for creating such a beautiful community as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Fatima.
You're
I'll talk
welcome.
to you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.